What is going on, guys? How you doing? Welcome to the channel. I just put a training together, a module, and here's a snippet of what I got going on. Check it out. Alrighty, guys, welcome to this video. A lot of things to talk about and go over. Now, the burning question, why don't leads convert? Well, leads don't convert because they haven't connected to you. And how do you get yourself out there, right? Like, there's so many different people within your market, and as you put yourself forward, as you show your personality, and as you get in front of the screen, the people will be able to connect to you better because they'll be able to see that you're, honest and doing the best that you can, and, forward thinking, a lot of different things when you put yourself on the video screen. So just keep that in mind. So also, leads need a lot of convincing, especially if they don't know who you are. Just think about somebody you've never met. How long would it take you for you to be able to trust them to be able to book their service? Now, there's a bunch of different ways to go about that and how to showcase that you're the person for the job. Basically, there's at least 4 different ways, right? The first way would be like, how much do you charge, right? I mean, a lot of people want to get to that first, yet I think it's most important to show the value, show that you're the professional in the field. There was another video I saw recently, and the guy was like, well, I know you got a quote from somebody else. You want me to just take a look at it and see if there's something they may be missing out on, because not all DJs are made the same, or not all services are the same, because that's what a lot of people think, right? They think that all the services are the same and the price is, comparable in that way. Yet what are you providing? Your personality. Are you somebody that's going to, dot your T's, dot your I's and cross your T's, that kind of thing? So leads probably won't convert. And there's another reason too, like you didn't add a sense of urgency. So if somebody doesn't have if somebody's not forced to make a decision, then they're not going to make a decision. That's why you want to put a limited time offer on things. Like if somebody gets you on the phone and then you want to give them your service, now you only have so much time for money. And what if somebody else comes along and wants to book that time? So that's why somebody needs to go with your service, put down a retainer fee, and then lock you in for that time in case somebody else comes along. And that's how you can imply scarcity. Not that I really love implying scarcity, but at the same time, it's reality. So if you don't book me at this certain time, then I may not be available. Now, it also depends on how big your company is and how you present yourself. And I know there's different ways to present DJs, right? Like, oh, this guy does X, Y, and Z, that's why you want him. Yet at the same time, if you just get somebody who just wants good quality service, you don't have to sell an individual. Now, there are a lot of times where somebody wants to book with me because I'm the one making the sales call, I'm the owner of the company, and sometimes it's just easier to put my name in the contract. Yet I don't try and sell myself first, because I want to make sure that my staff is around me, and if I'm not constantly putting money in their pocket, they're not going to stick around, right? They're going to go find other companies and that kind of thing. So my whole goal is to sell the company as a brand versus like just this guy does this and this guy does that. Now, I do have guys that are bilingual, and I'd like to sell those guys to people that want bilingual DJs. Yet if I can just get my guys going to do gigs that they can do, they have the qualifications for, I'd rather push them out than selling myself first. So leads probably won't convert if you haven't convinced them, if you haven't put a sense of urgency on it. And sometimes I apply a discount. Most times I apply a discount to the offer that I present to them with a 7-day expiration date, because I want to force them to sign. Now, if they don't sign, that's all fine and dandy too, because I'll be available for the next call that comes in. And then when you're booking 15 to 30 contracts a month, depending on the month, your availability is limited. And of course, you want to make sure that you maximize profits, because if you're not making money, then you won't be able to have a business. So convincing a lead, following up with a lead, and presenting yourself as a professional are the things that you want to be able to focus on when you're concentrating on your marketing, when you're doing sales calls, and having a clear cut way that you got to your prices with a polished contract and a polished price sheet. And those things are pretty easy to make in Canva. And if I get enough interest in that, I can go ahead and make a module on how I do that as well. So keep that in mind. And another thing too, the thing that makes everything organized, it's called a CRM. customer relations management system. It's what sends out contracts. It's what sends out, emails, follow-up emails, contract deadline emails, and I have a couple different systems for you guys to look at, and I've really dived into both of them. So they've, I've kind of geeked out on a lot of different software over the years, and I started out with I started out really, without a CRM. Now, depending on how many clients you have, you can do everything. What do they say? That's guerrilla warfare, kind of piecing things together and then finding out a system that works for you. I was sending out, Google Docs or PDFs, and then telling the client they had to get a PDF signature and sign it and get it back to me, which is a lot more steps to do than, sending out a contract and then having them digitally sign it, which is way easier, something they can do with their phone versus like having to download it on their computer and getting a PDF signature app, signing that, getting it back to me, and then me having to sign that with a with a digital, the same way they did it, and then get it back to them because they need a countersigned contract, right? So the more efficient you can make that with the CRM, the better off and the more professional that you'll look. So I'll go ahead and share my screen a little bit. Let's just go down the line. First, we can talk a little bit about marketing emails. Marketing emails is what I use for the DJ company, and basically when somebody signs up or says they want or are interested in the service, or they become a cold lead, I can share you this screen because I can go to status, ongoing. So basically I have wedding leads part 2, which I had a part 1, and then I went and revamped everything. So if I was to go in here, I could show you this. Oops, sorry. Back up. So if I go in here and go view and then edit, right, it'll load eventually. So as that thing's loading, I have a series of emails that they're going to get, and I went to Fever, and if I go pause and edit email, I had somebody in Fiverr, something like that. They went and designed me an email that has a whole bunch of different links in it. It looks really professional. I had them make these professional looking emails so that they would, have all these different things to click on, look more professional. Before I had it look like paint, and it didn't even really matter. I don't think that all of this matters either. All these different colored ones are clickable as well. And it just leads to different services that we have. It's probably a little bit of information overload, right? So there's another thing important too. Probably cover it in another video, but this is my lead magnet. A lead magnet is something that you give for somebody for free that they can use. It's beneficial to them, and we'll cover that in another video. But basically, I'm just going over CRMs and workflows and mindset, right? And then I'll go back to resume. So there's a little bit of a snippet of what I have going on. If you want the full training, make sure to click the link down in the description. Peace.